Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here, your source for gaming, tech, emulation, and open source news. Let's get started. Alright, we'll kick things off with a quick one. We're talking about arcade emulation on Android with MAME for Droid 2024, and MAME for Droid 2024 just got a brand new update to version 0.267. This brings it on par with the main version of MAME. Now, MAME for Droid is available right on the Google Play Store, but if you wanted to pick it up off GitHub, you absolutely can. MAME for Droid is 100% free open source, and I'll drop a link to both in the description below. Feel free to check them out. And speaking about Android, next up we're talking about Android on Steam. And there's a very big rumor out there right now that Steam is working on an Android emulator for Steam. So all of this started over on Twitter, or X. Brad Lynch has an article, and I'll drop a link to it in the description below. They were doing some data mining, and they noticed that Waydroid was in the Steam DB. For reference, Waydroid has been around for a while. It's a container-based approach to boot a full Android system on a regular GNU Linux system like Ubuntu. However, the logo that was found is completely different from Waydroid's normal logo, so we don't know if this is going to be a rebrand or something completely different. But I will say, if Valve gets their hands on this one, massages it, and makes it a very good experience, it would be pretty amazing to run Android apps on the Steam Deck or even on your PC. Let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below. Next up, we're quickly talking about Nintendo and the Wii U. Now, the Wii U has been unable to be repaired in North America for a while, but it appears that Japan is now on the list of places that will no longer repair a Wii U. Nintendo says, "We have run out of parts necessary for repairs, so as of July 3rd, 2024, we will no longer be accepting repairs for Wii U consoles and peripherals." Now, this really shouldn't be a surprise because just a little over a year ago, Nintendo did announce that they would be ending repairs when the current parts inventory runs out. I'm impressed that the inventory lasted over a year. And speaking about Nintendo, next up we're talking about Doug Bowser, Nintendo, and LinkedIn. And this is a very weird situation. So here's a screenshot of the post over on LinkedIn. Someone says, "I can't help but wonder if the legal team at Nintendo is aware of this, Doug Bowser. It could do real damage to our beloved Mario, only $21.45 USD. And they tagged Nintendo, and they tagged Doug Bowser, and this is for Shotgun Mario 64, an N64 ROM hack. And Doug Bowser, surprisingly or not surprisingly, actually responded and said, "Appreciate the visibility." Let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below. I'm kind of curious as to the motivation behind posting something like this. Is this person looking for a job from Nintendo? Is this person worried about Nintendo's financial well-being? I'm really curious. And speaking about mods, this is just a heads up, but the current NexusMods website appears to be down. They do have a fix and it's been implemented, and they are monitoring the results, so I'm assuming this site is going to be up soon. Next up, we're quickly talking about PlayStation 4 emulation with Shad PS4. Now, we talked about Shad PS4 the other day when they had a huge update, and it looks like 3D games are now working in the emulator pretty well. Here we can see One Piece up and running in Shad PS4. Now, this isn't Bloodborne, and it's probably going to be a while before Bloodborne is up and running. But at the same time here, this is very impressive and very promising for PS4 emulation. Next up, we're talking about LaunchBox. LaunchBox is an emulation front end, basically somewhere to organize all of your games and emulators and box art in one nice beautiful place. And LaunchBox just got updated to version 13.15. I'll drop a link to the full changelog and a YouTube video from ETA Prime going over the changes in the description below, and feel free to check them out. At a high level here, ScumVM is no longer bundled with LaunchBox. They also made importing ScumVM games a lot easier. And there's an automatic import now for Vita 3K and RPCS3. And there's also a brand new plugin manager. In addition to that, there's been a bunch more improvements and fixes, so feel free to check out that changelog if you're using LaunchBox. And if you are using LaunchBox, you may want to make sure you're updated to this version. Next up is another quick heads up. GOG is giving away the First Templar Special Edition, and this is DRM free. I'll drop a link to it in the description below, and I guess feel free to check it out. This was released back in 2011. The PC specs to run it are not super high. It's 4.3 gigabytes in size, and according to GOG, 10 hours to beat the main game. And speaking about giving stuff away, next up we're giving one key away for ArcEmu, which is a Game Boy and Game Boy Color emulator for the Apple Watch. Now, I had a previous giveaway for this very emulator, and someone has won that giveaway. And I'll be giving away one more key in this video. So all you have to do is send an email to giveaway@mrsujano.com with the answer to this question. What game have you beat from beginning to end that you enjoyed the most? That's literally it. So just send the email over to giveaway@mrsujano.com, and I'll be choosing one person at complete random for one key to this emulator. Next up, we're talking about Fangame, The Legend of Zelda Winds of Time, and they've just released a development update here on YouTube. So the initial concept for this project was an April Fool's joke, but it received a whole bunch of positive responses, and the developer here decided to go for it and see what they can do. Unfortunately, development is not going to complete on this one because, well, life reasons for the developer, which is completely understandable. The developer is releasing everything in this showcase as an asset pack. I'll drop a link to the showcase in the description below and feel free to check it out. It's such an interesting and weird project. It's an Ocarina of Time and Wind Waker crossover. And the results here are fantastic. I'm thinking a whole lot of effort went into this thing in the first place. On top of that, there's also some Majora's Mask stuff in there too. If you've seen this, let me know your thoughts about it in the comments below. I think this is a real cool project. And speaking about cool projects, next up we're talking about the SNES, and Voltaire, who is well known in the modding scene for retro gaming, has just finished the final production sample prototype for the SNES Edge Enhancer. Now, the Edge Enhancer is for an actual SNES, and if you wanted to learn more about output modes and mods for the SNES, I'll drop a link to this My Life in Gaming YouTube video in the description below, and feel free to check it out. It is very detailed. So if you've got a 2-chip SNES laying around and wanted to see if you can get absolutely everything you can out of it, you may want to check out Voltaire's project as soon as it releases. Next up, we're quickly talking about Crash Bandicoot, and it appears that the Crash Bandicoot and Sane Trilogy is headed to Xbox Game Pass in August. At least that's the latest rumor. This information comes from a well-known leaker, and they say they have graphic evidence, so I guess we'll have to wait and see. Let me know your thoughts about Crash Bandicoot in the comments below. Headed to Game Pass. Do you use Game Pass? Next up, we're talking about Super Mario 64 and the fan-made Super Mario 64 Co-op Deluxe, which is an online multiplayer mod for the game, has just dropped. And to be specific, it's an online mod for the PC port of the game. If you are curious about this one, the entire project is 100% free and open source and up on GitHub, and I'll drop a link to it in the description below in the event that you wanted to learn more about it. And on a side note here, they say the purpose of this project is to actively maintain and improve, but also continue SM64EX co-op. And if you wanted to see it in action, I'll drop a link to the version 1.0 trailer in the description below, and feel free to check it out. And last up here, we're talking about Nintendo GameCube retro achievements on Dolphin, and it appears they're getting closer to releasing them. Now, it's worth pointing out that these retro achievements are going to work on the standalone version of Dolphin, not the Dolphin core within RetroArch. They say here RetroArch made the core essentially unusable for retro achievements functionality. Now, we don't have a release date just yet, as the team is making sure things are buttoned up and real nice and perfect before releasing, as opposed to releasing a sloppy product. And they do have a games list here. I'll drop a link to this Reddit post in the description below, and I do recommend checking it out. There are a whole bunch of games they're either working on or have finished or up next in the docket. But anyways, that is all I've got for you in this one. Straight to the point, all stuff and no fluff. We talked about a bunch today. Let me know your thoughts about absolutely any of it in the comments below. If you like this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button, check out my other videos. Don't tempt fate, save your state.